and welcome. I am the Sterling and today we are playing Timberborn. In the last episode, we got stuck into moving the industry and built it its own district. On top of all this, it gave us the opportunity to clear out most of the industry from the beavers district. So we're now ready for our next major project, the biggest I've done yet. So sit back, grab a cold one and let's get started. Right, our next major project, which honestly is going to make the power plant look tiny. It's what we've all been waiting for, or at least I have anyway. It's now time to start building the multi-level farms and the multi-level forests. And it's all going to be built in this area here, running along the edge of the map. Now the way it's going to look is, as I've mentioned in the past, there's going to be a big dam, which initially I was going to have on the front, but it actually makes more sense to run it down the back of the map, as that's where the actual water sources are. So there'll be a dam spanning 18 blocks and it will run down the back of the map. Then in front of the dam will be the multi-story farms and forests, which will actually span 37 blocks by 37 blocks. Yeah, they're big. And there's going to be quite a few of them. There'll be one for lumber, one for farming, probably another one for farming, more for lumber. I can build as many as I need and as many as I want. Or I might just build one and go, geez, that was so bloody big, I'm not doing that again. But when have I ever done anything small? So good chance I'm going to build quite a few of these. So the first thing I need to do before I can even attempt the towers is start planning out the dam. Now I'm going to build the dam quite small at first. I'm only going to build it 33 blocks long because I'm only going to build one tower at first. So there's no point building this huge dam straight off the bat that takes me about 20 episodes all to supply one tower with water. So it's going to be a bit of a package deal. Every time I build a tower, I'll extend the dam to correspond with the new tower. And that's the dam walls planned out. Big, isn't it? Honestly, really nervous about building this one. That's just the first section and look how bloody big it is. Now, it's a bit of an eyesore at the moment because it's this big towering structure. But don't forget, there's going to be towers in front of it that will actually disguise it a bit. So it's not going to be that ugly once it's completed. And on top of this, that's not even the top. That's just as big as the terrain section of the dam will be. There's actually going to be a section again on top made out of levees, which will be connected to aqueducts that will do an entire sort of process to make sure that these towers are constantly fed full of water. The way this is actually going to work is there's going to be a tunnel underneath the ground to a central tower within the actual towers of either the forest tower or the farm tower. And so as the level of the water rises in the actual dam, it will rise within these central towers, making the land around them fertile. But then when a drought hits and the level of the water in the dam starts to drop, so will the water in the actual tower itself. Now I could go ahead and do something fancy with sluice gates to actually stop the water in the central tower from escaping back into the dam. But then I've still got to deal with evaporation. So that's not the solution. What the solution will be is quite simple. During the wet season, the water will be pumped into the central tower of the farm or forest. And then during the dry season, there will be actual pumps on top of the dam that will actually pump water into an aqueduct that will then feed into these central towers. So there's a whole process to this. But I'll get into a lot more of that when the time comes. Because for the moment, the next step is laying dynamite. Because we're going to level this to this level here. And there we go. That's the first layer of the dynamite planned out. Now I'm going to have to go through and work out how exactly we're going to build this logistically. So I'll have to add ladders up. I'll probably have to make a way in somewhere. On top of that, I've got to work out who's actually going to build it, whether it be the beavers or the bots or a combination of the both. But nonetheless, there is nothing left to do but hit play and let them get to work building it. Right, so the building process is so slow. I've been using the beavers at this point, and the distance they must travel to bring both the resources needed to build this and the labor itself, it's just far too far. So I'm going to have to bite the bullet and create another new district. So as you saw, I've built a district crossing here, and I've begun building builders huts and hauling posts in this area here. Now this area, as I've mentioned in the past, is going to be run by the bots. So that's exactly who's going to build it. Now, I was sitting here contemplating whether or not to actually start using tubeways, because most of this settlement is going to be moved and run on tubeways. Hence, all these channels everywhere where we're running power have an open channel at the moment ready for the tubeways to go in. And so I was actually contemplating just running a tubeway from Bot City all the way over here to start building this dam. But then I thought, bugger it, it's going to be its own district. I may as well make it its own district. So the same as the last district we created, I'll separate it from the rest of the district, just like so. Now this area is its own area, but it also needs a district center. We're going to plop it in right here. Done. For the moment, we'll just name it Dam. None of these builders huts, haulers posts, or even this district center are permanent. I'll have a much better place to put them later on. But for the moment, this will do the job. Hence, I don't care what it's named. We're building the dam. Dam works. So now I'll just set the district center for bots. I'll come over here, set up the district crossing, set up everything that needs to be imported, exported, all that sort of jazz. And then we can get back to work using the correct workforce to build this dam. Day 7 of cycle 77, and quite a bit of time has passed. So where are we at with the build so far? Honestly, it's slow going, but that was to be expected when I built such a large project. But it's actually slow going for a few other reasons. One of the main reasons it's such a slow going process at the moment across not just this build but the entire settlement is the logistics. I'm really struggling to actually get resources transported around through the different districts. One of the biggest limitations is the amount of resources that you can actually get through the district crossing. And as you can see right now, we've got no logs within the bot district. Now, that's not the end of the world, as the actual beavers themselves are prioritizing transporting logs to the district crossing to get them into the bot district, but it's still just not fast enough. And so my solution to this is I'm actually going to now start building quite a few district crossings. That way, I can get more resources into the bot district at any given time. Now, I've also taken steps to try and speed up this entire process. One of those is before and after district crossings, I've started setting up storage for the different things that I need to export and import. I've also done it down here at the dam as well. Though as you can see, I've started exporting a lot of the things that I don't need in the dam at the moment, as I need them elsewhere. But all of this comes at a cost, and And what's the cost? Manpower. So once again, I've actually started producing beavers because I need the beavers as the haulers. Right now, we have 96 beavers capable of working, and they are already taken up. And that's not enough. That's not nearly enough for the amount of hauling jobs and actual district crossing jobs that we've got going. On top of this, I don't have enough bots. 300 bots wasn't enough. So now I've actually doubled our bot production. But once again, it comes down to the fact that we're bottlenecking on the logs, because logs are used for everything. They're used to make the gears needed to build the bots. The logs are used to make planks. They're used to make nearly everything we need to produce bots. So now the production of bots, even though we've doubled it, it's not actually doubled. And I could go, okay, well, bugger it. I'll expand the industry further. I've made plans to do so. But once again, it comes down to the bottleneck of the logs. Now we're back cutting down trees because if you remember quite a few episodes ago, I'd actually stalled the production of logs. No longer. We are chopping them down, and we're chopping them down at a good rate. The district crossing is the issue. So I really need to get stuck into planning out and doing a more permanent solution to this. Otherwise, our bot production is going to stop. Now, I've come up with a temporary solution. What that will look like is I'm just going to set up a whole bunch of storage just like so. Doesn't really matter. It's just quick. I'll set it for logs and I'll set it to obtain. I'll then connect this road here, disconnect this road here. The beavers will then stock all these large industrial piles with logs. I'll then break the connection to the beavers and reconnect the connection to the actual bots themselves. That way, I'm bypassing the district crossing. But this is not a long-time solution. This is a short-term solution so we don't lose bots. I'm actually tempted to do the same thing over here with the dam, because what's stalling the dam at this point is that we can't get dirt here quick enough. But when you look at the storage over here at the bot district, we're not short for dirt. We got so much of it. So once again, I think that this little plan I've got is our solution to this problem as well. But once again, it's not a long-term solution. Luckily, this setup I've got with the district crossing heading into the dam is only temporary. Once I actually start building the towers, I can then set up a proper permanent solution. But right now, this area here is my main concern. Now, on top of all this, I finally decided to go ahead and build ourselves a nice smelting area. It was pretty straightforward. Storage underneath, smelters on top. We've now switched over and we're actually producing scrap metal efficiently, which has doubled our output of scrap metal from 5 to 10. But now, rather than costing just treated planks, it also costs extract. So that's what these two empty small barrels are supposed to contain. Obviously, they're not collecting it fast enough. So I'll swap these small barrels over to obtain. That way, the mine won't stop while we're waiting for extract to come along. Well, there's nothing left to do but for me to fix up this area here and get it working efficiently, and then I can start concentrating on this dam once again. Day 21 of cycle 79. And where are we at this point? Well, the dam's coming along very slowly, but it is coming along, though it is now down to the level that it needs to be, which is great. I've also set up the bad water switch. So when I want to start filling up the dam, I can then open up these sluice gates, which will then allow water into this dam as long as it's clean. The moment the water is above 5% contamination, these sluice gates will close. The ones inside on the back will actually open up, allowing the bad water to exit, and it will be dumped out this drainage system and out off the map. Essentially the same way I've done this over here. Same, but different. And while I've been waiting for the dam to get built, I've just been leveling this section here. This is where the first farm or forest tower is going to go. And rather than sitting on my hands, I thought I'd get stuck into it. On top of all this, I've redesigned the district crossing from the beavers to the bots. I was playing with about 5 district crossings for a little while. Then I came to realize these two on the outside weren't even staffed, so they weren't even doing anything. As it stands right now, with just the 3 district crossings running and all the storage ready to go, we're easily getting the logs through that we need. For quite a while, I was doing my little trick with both the logs and the dirt, deleting one path, opening it up on the other side and vice versa. But I haven't done this for a while now, as we're constantly stocked full of logs. Across the entire settlement, as it stands right now, we've still got 4.5k of logs. Our bot population is growing ever so slowly at 370 as we speak. In part, this was actually my fault. It took me a while to realize that the actual bot part factories underneath this new section here, they were still set to beavers. Only recently I've switched them over to actually be bots, and ever since the population's been growing quite steadily, which is fantastic because we need a hell of a lot. And on top of all this, I've also been growing the beaver population once again. We are up at 160 beavers. This is just to make sure that we're actually hauling all the goods that we need, because the beavers are sort of acting as a little bit of a middleman between the industry and the dam. Though this won't be forever, because sooner or later, I'm going to actually extend this channel here all the way down to the dam district. And as you know, this channel is actually going to house tubeways. So the bots here in the industry will actually directly be able to feed the dam with resources. But as we've just got a temporary setup, I'm not overly fussed. But all 3 districts will be connected in a bit of a triangle. So both the dam will be able to trade with the beavers and the bots. The beavers will be able to trade with the dam and the industry. And the industry, go figure, will be able to trade with both the beavers and the dam. So now I think you're kind of up to date on what's going on. Though I feel like I've been sitting here for hours watching the beavers build this dam. Especially the fact that this is not the first time that I've actually gotten about this far. I got about this far a few hours ago, and then it's thunderstorming outside, something shocking, and the power bombed out. I lost all my progress in Timberborn, and the recording actually corrupted. So this is my second time through. Luckily, it was only a couple of hours. Well, that's enough of me prattling on, so let's hit play and get this dam finished. Day 9 of cycle 81. And where are we at? Well, the first section of the dam is complete. I'm just dreading the fact that this is a very small portion of a very big dam. And I've also cleared the space ready to start building the first farm or forest tower. And I really need to come up with a better name for it. On top of all this, I've actually started dropping our beaver population once again, though it's dropped a little further than I would have liked. I'm trying to sit around the 150 mark. So I'll turn these back on. I'm doing this for starters because I've only got about 150 beds for the beavers to sleep in. And on top of all this, the lag's back. Between the 367 bots and the 170 beavers we had, the lag was horrific. I've also gone so far as to actually pause 3 of the 8 bot assemblers, only because I don't need to be producing 600 of them, which eventually that's what this is going to put out. Each section does 150. So that section there's 300. This section here is 300. That's 600, give or take. So I've got 4 over this side producing 300, and then this one here producing around, well, in this case, 67. On top of all this, in my travels at one point, I put in 3 number crunches, only because our science was getting a little too low for my liking, though it lasted a lot longer than I would have expected. We had about 100,000 science a few episodes ago, and I got down to about 20 or 30,000, so it actually held out quite a long time. The control towers don't actually seem to use all that much science, which is good. As you can see in the bot district, we have 3.5 thousand logs. So I've successfully nutted out our district crossing, which is good. As it stands right now, once again, we're not wanting for anything, which is fantastic. Now I've even gone in and deleted the smelter and a few more storage locations in the old industry area of the Beavers district. So I know this is a big episode, and thanks for bearing with me, but now we're ready to start building the first forestry tower, maybe? I don't know. I'll work out a name for it. Unfortunately, though, that will have to wait for another episode, as this is all the time we have for today. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.